Thank you all for attending this evening. Opportunities to meet the candidates and hear directly from them are key to making informed decisions on election day. Candidates seeking election were required to apply via Elections Ontario before the February 13th, 2025 deadline. Once the deadline passed, the Barrie Chamber reviewed the confirmed list and then invited all the candidates to participate, ensuring equal opportunity for them to take part tonight. We sincerely thank the candidates for their commitment to public service and for taking the time to engage with voters. Running for office is no small undertaking, and we appreciate their dedication to service Barrie-Innisfil in Ontario. This event provides a valuable platform for each candidate to introduce themselves and share their vision and engage directly with the community.
First off, I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for the invite and putting together this event. I also want to acknowledge the hard work of small and medium-sized business owners in Barrie-Innisfil, along with the workers who are the heartbeat of the region. So a little bit about me. I get often asked why I chose to put myself into this arena. My daytime job, I'm a child protection worker. I do child protection investigations. I've been doing that for almost 20 plus years. I was a first responder during the pandemic, and I've seen the lack of services for families and youth at the ultimate risk. A little bit before that, I was a supervisor at a maximum youth facility in Toronto, and prior to that, I worked with at-risk youth in central Massachusetts. I'm also a long-standing union president for OPSU-SEPCO, and I've done tons of work in challenging the status quo and demanding tangible change in the workplace. So I just want to be honest for a second. I know the Chamber of Commerce here might lean a little conservative in this riding. That's okay. Maybe some of you think the NDP is all about big government, big spending, and not enough about the economy and local business. But here's the thing. There's really no reason for that. If you care about a strong economy, a skilled workforce, good infrastructure, and making sure small businesses don't get squeezed by rising costs, then you and I are on the same page already. Through my research, I understand that the Ontario Chamber of Commerce has made clear and reasonable demands for economic growth, workforce development, infrastructure, and sustainability. So let's look at the record. Under Doug Ford, small businesses got hit with skyrocketing insurance costs, while big box stores got sweetheart deals. Ford let housing prices spiral out of control, making it hard to attract workers to Barrie-Innisfil. This government has ignored workforce shortages in key industries like healthcare, education, and skilled trades, industries that drive our economy. Andrea Ganjan, our MPP and Ford's Environment Minister, oversees the weakest environmental policies in the country. She helped Ford gut conservation laws, weaken wetland protections, and prioritize sprawl over smart development. So the Chamber of Commerce's 2025 priorities call for a competitive business environment, but right now big corporations get tax breaks while small businesses are left behind. Workforce development, but this government refuses to invest in education, skills, training, and fair wages. Healthy and sustainable communities, but the Ford government has gutted healthcare, underfunded social services, and made housing unaffordable. Growth-enabled infrastructure, but we're still waiting for better transit, rural broadband, and stable energy prices. Economic growth. Small businesses in Barrie-Innisfil are struggling with rising costs, commercial insurance hikes, and a lack of access to capital. The housing crisis is making it harder to attract and retain workers because people can't afford to live near their jobs. Meanwhile, this government hands tax breaks to giant corporations, but leaves small businesses behind. So, as your MPP, I will fight to lower costs for small and medium-sized businesses by tackling commercial insurance price gouging, because you shouldn't have to cut staff just to keep the lights on. I will invest in emerging industries, including green energy, advanced manufacturing, and local supply chains to keep jobs here in Ontario. I will strengthen local businesses by expanding Buy Ontario policies, so we're keeping our money in the province. Make taxes fair. No more handouts to billionaires, while small businesses and their owners foot the bill. Strengthen trade opportunities within Canada by eliminating unnecessary interprovincial barriers. For example, professionals like teachers, nurses, and Red Seal tradespeople shouldn't have to get recertified if they move provinces. Workforce development. Employers in our region are desperate for skilled workers in trades, healthcare, childcare, and hospitality. At the same time, workers in education, social services, and healthcare are so low that people are leaving the workplace entirely. Ford's cut to post-secondary funding and apprenticeships have made it harder to train the workers we need. I believe that we need to expand skilled trades and apprenticeship programs to create pathways from high school into in-demand jobs. I want to make sure Barrie is a healthy and sustainable community. Business owners see it firsthand. Rising homelessness, mental health crises, and overburdened hospitals make it hard to keep communities safe and thriving. If elected, my promise to you, I will fight for smart investments in people, businesses, and infrastructure. Not more cuts that push workers and businesses to the breaking point. I am committed to working alongside local business owners, workers, and community leaders to create an economy that works for everyone. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm a little shorter than Andrew, but I want to thank my fellow colleague here, Andrew, for making it tonight. I want to hope Sam is doing well. We had another candidate who was supposed to join us tonight from the New Blue Party, who unfortunately got into a minor car accident. He's okay, but would have been 3 of us on here, so I want to make sure that he knows that we're thinking of him tonight. I also want to thank the Chamber and CARP, again, for partnering up to host this. You do it every year, you do it well, and you really create an open forum. No matter one's political affiliation, you have a home at the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm really grateful for all the work that you do across our community. Which brings me here and why we're here today. You know, why do people pick Barrie-Innisfil to live in? You know, I'm joined here tonight by my husband, Kevin, my son, who's 3 years old, Oliver, my daughter, Anastasia, who's just turned 5 months old. And like many families, you know, we choose to raise our family here because of the values that the Barrie-Innisfil comprises of. You know, the ability to have a home here, a job here, a beautiful Lake Simcoe here, access to incredible community supports. But that can easily all be taken away if the tariffs come into play. And what do I mean by that? Is there's so many small businesses here in Barrie-Innisfil that I got to know over my 7 years representing this incredible community. So many of them are integrated into the manufacturing supply chain. We know, anecdotally, that a car crosses the border about 7 times before it's put together again. Many of those components are made in our very backyard. The people that put those components together, the people that create that engineering, many of those people are our neighbors. And when I've been knocking on doors over the last 2 weeks, I've heard the concern in people's voices. Concerns from people, whether it's on Cunningham Road that I was at a few weeks ago by a gentleman who works at Provincial. Tariffs will impact his job. He's worried. I spoke to another lady whose son just got an engineering job at a local manufacturing plant. She's worried for her son. It's his first job out of the gate of school. She doesn't know what's going to happen. We're living in a very uncertain times. And if one thing that our Progressive Conservative Party under the leadership of Doug Ford wants to bring is bring back that stability and certainty that we've had for the last 7 years. To tell small businesses, we have your back. It's not just a saying, we mean it in the things we do. Things like when we first got elected, we cut the small business tax, which allowed for that breath of fresh air that small businesses needed, to really thank them for the work they're doing. Cutting WSIB premiums, which really helped our small businesses here as well. Helping them with talent retention. We had a huge, a lot of people had to pivot after the global pandemic. They wanted to switch careers. They wanted to open up their own businesses. They weren't sure how to do that. They weren't sure what government's going to invest in them. So we invested in job training so that people could go and reskill. I'll give you an example of the lady Wendy I was talking to. She was waiting tables for 15 years. She said, I was tired of working with other people who were leaving for another career, and I was still doing the same thing. I wanted to go and get I wanted to finally go and pursue an education. So she went to a local career college here in Barrie and was able to become a hairdresser. She's thriving, she's loving what she does, and certainly there's a demand for that particular skill in our community amongst many other skilled trades. But these are just some of the examples of what our government is doing to build on talent retention and really build and strengthen communities like we have here in Barrie-Innisfil. It's about building the economy, not downloading onto people, but helping lift them up, helping improve affordability. And a lot of that starts with the good economy, creating good jobs, creating the environment for good jobs. I'll reflect on something that we were able to announce many weeks ago, a regional innovation center. The closest regional innovation center to Barrie was Thunder Bay and Markham. Now, I don't know about you, but that's quite a drive for one of our great entrepreneurs or one of our innovators here locally to go and pursue. And God forbid we lose that talent. I grew up in this community, and there's a lot of people that did not come back to stay here and work here, raise their family here. We were losing a lot of talent, and this Regional Innovation Center is one step closer of us keeping that talent here in Barrie and Simcoe County. What it does, it's able to help the businesses that we have in our community, help them grow. It's one thing to attract new employers, and certainly we're doing our fair share of that in Ontario by growing the life science sector, growing the manufacturing sector, the electric vehicle sector, but we have to grow the businesses we have here too. And the Regional Innovation Center is a huge component of that, helping teach those skills, helping connect that entire entrepreneurial ecosystem that we have in our community. Whether it's the Digital Media Zone in Innisfil, whether it's Nottawasaga Futures out in Alliston, whether it's the Barrie Chamber of Commerce, whether it's the Henry Bernick Center, investing in that entrepreneurial spirit. But we wouldn't be good entrepreneurs here locally, we wouldn't be good successful businesses here locally without our health, which brings me to our healthcare sector and what we're doing for health. Certainly, locally, we're really blessed to have Georgian College. We are able to now have all 4 years of the nursing program here at Georgian College, and that's something that myself and my next door neighbor and former MPP Doug Downey had worked on at the time. And so what was happening before then? You had folks that were going to Georgian College, they spent 2 years of their nursing degree there, then they spent the last 2 at York University. So we lost that talent because they'd go to another community. They'd settle down, they'd meet someone, they'd have roots. But now all 4 years of that program can be done in our own backyard, utilizing our great college that we have. And it helps us retain those nurses. We're not in the business of firing nurses like maybe previous governments have done. We're in the business of retaining those nurses so that they can graduate, work at Royal Victoria Hospital, one of our great facilities we have across Simcoe County. Which brings me to our personal support workers. I knocked on a countless amount of doors, and when I meet personal support workers, like I did last week in a snowstorm in Innisfil, she was grateful. She said, thank you, tell Doug Ford thank you, because he is the only person that raised my wages. And I do so much, I work day in and day out. No one counts the hours that I spend on the road. No one counts the hours that I spend with those patients when I do home care. And you're the only government that has increased personal support worker wages and home care. And that's just nurses. I have 1 minute to go, but I will say, in addition to investing in a lot of those skills to bring up our community, there's Royal Victoria Hospital. We were able to deliver the first PET CT scanner in our region. update our MRI, which gets people off the road, off 400, and they're able to use those services here in our community. But that wouldn't be possible without the strong fabric that we have. So again, my ask to you is if you want to continue to build our strong economy, if you want to protect livelihoods, if you want to fight Donald Trump and his tariffs, if you want to ensure that we're not the 51st state, if you want to make sure we continue to improve on those great healthcare services, the innovation, the protecting workers, I ask you on February, this Thursday, February 27th, I ask for your vote. And I ask you to vote Andrea Kanchan, your Progressive Conservative candidate, to be your member of provincial parliament for another 4 years, so I can continue to do the work that I started and continue to build this great community where so many people choose to live in, choose to stay in, and choose to move in. Thank you.
But the opportunity to hear from our candidates, I think, is core to the the political process, and it's never been more important. So, in terms of what the chamber does, whether we're the Ontario Chamber or the Barrie Chamber, we're apolitical. There's no color on a good policy or a good idea. So when I hear Andrew mention that we lean a little right, I kind of disagree with that, just from the standpoint that when we go to advocacy days, we hear from all the different political parties. There's a fantastic housing plan coming from the Greens. They've done a great job with it. What I'd like to see, what I think we all want to see, is our political parties coming together and actually sharing those good ideas and working together within our communities to make us stronger. And that's why this kind of an event, where it's not a debate, is a good idea, because we have an opportunity to meet each other, share ideas, and maybe find some common ground. So on behalf of the Chamber, I want to thank Andrew for coming today, and thank Andrea again for coming today. I want to pass our condolences on to Sam. Unfortunately, he was in a car accident and got a bit of an injury. Wanted to be here today, but wasn't able to. And I want to thank CARP for their sponsorship today and for helping us with a number of different questions. The CARP side of things, they really look after the healthcare side of things, especially when it comes to seniors. With that, thank you for coming. It's nice that the weather cooperated with us tonight for once, but we do appreciate you showing up. So have a great evening. Thank you.